Okay, so one of you clearly asked me in the Q&A session to do a backtesting session on gold, specifically in 2017. So that is exactly what I will be doing. So even in the future, if you have basically some requests, you can just basically tell me and I will make a backtesting session in the year and a pair or commodity that you want. Now, gold is obviously not a forex, so it's a little bit more complicated, but in general it's still very easy to read. And anyway, the strategies work in any market. So let's start basically here. Now, the first thing that you see overall, what the market did. The market created a new impulse, creating a higher high. You expect retracement and then you expect continuation to the upside, specifically because we had all of this push to the downside. We can already see it from the daily. But if we go on the weekly, it's pretty clear to see that overall from a daily perspective, we expect the market to make a retracement, okay? From this high to this low, we had all this push to the downside without any kind of retracement. So definitely the market is overextended to the downside, and on the daily, we had the first break of structure. So we expect the ICI to the upside to complete. So what we have to do, we have to take our Fibonacci from the low to the high and see if the market already basically retraced to the 382, which you can see that the market already did. Okay, we already got our retracement to the 382 Fibonacci retracement. So we can go down, as you know, on the 4 hours to look for an entry. It's always the same rules over and over again. So let's go down on the 4-hour time frame and basically see what kind of entry scenario we get. So basically the first thing that we see here is that overall we still don't have any kind of entry. The market still didn't test the structure. Okay, so now we get a break of structure. Now in these particular situations there are two cases. Okay, there is the case in which you have some more structure here. Okay, so inside of the retracement the market created some structure that made the push up, and at that point you can definitely expect a retest of the structure to the downside. And there is the case in which basically there is no structure at this area. Here we have absolutely nothing. So from this case, we can actually be looking at the long directly from here, from this area here of previous resistance, now turn support, if we will have at least a minimum 1 to 3 to the upside from a daily perspective target. Now, if we take our Fibonacci from the low to the high, we can see that overall we can place our stop loss below the 78.6. But we have to see on the daily, retake our Fibonacci and see basically where is our target. Now, as you know, when the market retraces at least to the 382, so only to the 382, sorry, without making it to the 50%, then basically you can be looking for a higher target. Okay, there is no need to adjust your Fibonacci in this way. You can just take your Fibonacci in this way, and there are two targets that you can be looking at. It's not only the minus 27, you can even look at a higher target. Why? Because it means that we didn't have a deeper retracement. It means that the market is very impulsive and basically you expect a higher leg. So if we go down on the 4 hours, I already marked the two targets. Let's see if we get a minimum 1 to 3 to the first target. Okay, so we're not getting a minimum 1 to 3 to the first target, so we can take the second target. And let me see what we have here. We have 1 to 3.24, which is good. So let's see if this will be a win or a loss. Okay, so here now we go break even. Okay, this is the exact moment in which we go break even. We can see if we will be stopped out or if it will be a break even in this case, or if it will be a win. Okay, so actually in this kind of scenarios, guys, if you see the market go very near to you, take profit and then start a new push down, I know that the market can still easily go to your target, but it's best to basically close the trade for a 1 to 3 at the moment that you had the 1 to 3. Okay, the market was above your 1 to 3, started to reject, you just close it at your 1 to 3. No need to risk basically all your profit just for a couple of pips. And let's see if actually the target hits. Okay, so the target anyway hit, but it's best to close it for a 1 to 3 than basically risk all your profits for just a couple more pips. So in the end, your goal is just to get the 1 to 3. Now, I know that I'm keeping the indicators on, but ignore them on all time frames and only look at them on the 4-hour time frame. I will not be just taking them off and on all the time because it will take too much time. So let's continue basically and looking at what we have. So at the moment, nothing, just the market is moving up, Okay, so now we have a breakout structure. The market had a low here and the market created a lower low. So let's go on the weekly and see if we can actually be looking for a short. And yes, we can definitely be looking for a short. Also on the weekly, we have a clear ICI to the downside and we can expect continuation to the downside. So let's go on the 4 hours and look for a short entry, which in this case is already in front of us, because what you can see, you have down, up, down, up. Here we have previous support and resistance. We just have to check if the market already retraced to the 382. So let's take our fib from the high to the low for this ICI strategy. Okay, so the market didn't retrace to the 382 yet, so we have to wait for the market to hit the 382. But let's see where the 382 is. Okay, so the 382 is actually exactly at the previous support turn resistance. So we can definitely be looking at a short from here, and this actually looks like a pretty good risk to reward. Now in this case, as you know, there is no need to adjust our fib because we already have a basically the market, we're looking only at 382 and not at 50%. So we expect the market to go down from there, meaning that we can target the minus 27, which will give us a 1 to 3 risk to reward. And this looks like a pretty good setup. Let's see what we get. Okay, so our entry was pretty precise. Unfortunately, we cannot go risk-free yet because we still have this support here and the market could still do something like this. Now, obviously, it can also do something like this and just stops us out, but that is basically not our problem. We just want to play over our statistics over and over again. Okay, so this was quite impulsive. So we have a very good probability of actually losing this trade. Okay, so definitely stopped out. Okay, so this is a minus a 1R loss. At the moment, we are plus 2R with this trade. Let's go and see what we have. So let's continue basically looking at what kind of price action the market is creating. Nothing that we can do here. The market is overextended to the upside, but is still above support. We have to wait. Okay, so at the moment, actually, we have a pretty good retracement after this candle here. Okay, this candle here went for a nice retest of this level here, which is basically previous resistance, now turn support. We have our impulse, we have our retracement, previous resistance, turn support. We can definitely be looking for a new push to the upside, and from the weekly we already know that we expect even more continuation to the upside. So definitely we can be looking for a long from this area. Now at the moment, where can we be looking at the long? We can be looking at the long from this area where this is clearly previous resistance, turn support. So we can be looking at a long from here. This zone here, let's delete this. So basically we can definitely be looking at a long from here. What about our take profit? In this case, we had a deep retracement, so we have to use our previous daily leg. And when it comes to target, we will have a 1 to 3 in this way with a nice stop loss below this structure here. So let's see what happens. Okay, so actually our order was missed. So, okay, at this point you can't be looking at the trade from here. The market is also overextended to the upside. So we can't really be looking at a setup from here. Let's see if we get a deeper retracement because we have the structure here. This is the example I was showing you before. We have some structure here. So the market might go inside of here and then we can basically get an entry for the ICI to complete. So let's see if we will get a deeper retracement. Okay, so we got a deeper retracement. The market is now breaking back up. The environment is bullish, market above the zero. EMAs are cutting for long, actually cut for long. And the market created some new structure here, which we have this resistance here, not on support. We can definitely be looking at a buy from this area. And what about our stop loss? Our stop loss, we will take our Fibonacci from the low to the high. 78.6 is here. Our stop loss needs to be below. What about our overall upside target? You already know it from the rules. Fibonacci from the low to the high. The minus 27 is here. This is overall what we have. And let's see how it will go. So at the moment, the market actually triggered our entry. So let's see what we have. Okay, the first push to the upside, not risk-free yet. Okay, now we got a quite solid push to the downside and definitely not expected. So at this point, what you do, basically at this point, you exit the trade break even. Okay, you exit the trade break even. And if the market will close back above this area, then we can re-enter the position. Okay, so definitely now we can re-enter the position. Now, what are we supposed to do at the moment? Now, at the moment, we're just supposed to basically wait and see how accurate we can actually be with this position. Because if we take it exactly from here, we have to see if we are still getting our 1 to 3 risk to reward. So let's retake our Fibonacci from the low to the high, put our minus 27 here, and see, okay, we're not getting a 1 to 3. So we need to take it from a little bit lower, okay? We have to see how low we can get, maintaining our 1 to 3 risk to reward with a stop loss below the new structure that the market created. So like this, we still didn't get our 1 to 3. Okay, so like this, we get the 1 to 3. Our stop loss is below the structure. And basically, if the market will make this minor retracement, then we will be in the trade and we can basically do it. If the market just continues to the upside, it's perfectly fine because anyway, we didn't have our 1 to 3. Okay, so the market actually hit our entry. So we're now in the trade. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so obviously now we are risk-free on the trade and we will see if the market will hit our target. It will be pretty good. Okay, so overall this was a 1 to 3 risk reward. Now obviously, yes, you could have argued, okay, but I want to close it here. No, you can't close it here because you didn't have your 1 to 3 yet. Or better said, you can close it, but it's best. In this case, you had such a strong move. It's very good probabilities that the market will actually continue even more. So overall, this was a good trade. Let's continue and see what kind of price action we have at the moment. So actually, a trading view is stopped, which is a bad thing. Sometimes it just does this. I don't want to see basically what happened next. I don't want to reload. I think I am forced to do it. Okay, so we will try not to see basically what was going on. Let's see if there is a way to basically not see. Okay, so in this way, we kind of not see what is going on. Good. So let's resume where we were on the 4 hours. Okay, so now actually we went way too fast forward. Way too fast forward. Okay, so this is where we were. So on the daily, basically, let's see how price action was developing. So our ICI just completed. At the moment, we have a new ICI, but we have to look left. We don't have to ignore basically what we have left. Now the market has retested the previous support term resistance from this daily perspective, and it will be also weekly. Pretty sure about it. If we go on the weekly, we will have this also on the weekly. Yes, so as you can see, basically from a weekly perspective, we have this clear previous support term resistance plus with this basically ICI to the downside. So we can definitely be looking at a short. So let's go on the daily. Can you be looking at a short? Obviously not yet. Okay, you can't be looking at the short yet. If you're asking yourself why you can't be looking at the short yet, is because the market has now previous resistance term support here. So we have to wait for this to break to the downside before we can be looking at our entry. Okay, so now the market definitely broke to the downside. Okay, we have this new area here, which is now resistance. So we can go down on the 4 hours and we have our ICI from the daily. So we can definitely be looking at a short. However, the market is retracing pretty aggressively. Now this is exactly our entry area. Okay, the market is exactly where we would like to take our short. So this zone here, which is also in confluence, basically all this area here. Now why this area here? Because starting from here, we have this resistance, and look at this wick. This wick finished exactly here. So basically this is the structure. So we want to take the short from here, but there's no way we will short after a candle like this without first seeing some kind of rejection. From the weekly, we're extremely bearish, that is for sure, but we need to see some sort of rejection. Okay, so this is already enough, okay, because the market basically is showing us that, okay, it's not only buyers, there are definitely sellers. And when it comes to take profit in this case, yes, you can go on the weekly and say, okay, this is an ICI, so I just want to take the huge target to the downside. It's something you can do, but it's always basically best to use a little smaller targets, okay? For example, what you could do, you could take your Fibonacci on this daily leg, okay, or on this daily leg. For example, you could take it on this daily leg and say, okay, we have our minus 27 here. Now, why taking it on this daily leg, okay? Because if you want information on this leg, this will be the previous leg. It's always the same concept. If you want information on a leg, you have to take it on the previous one. And if we go down on the 4 hours, this is basically, let me see what kind of risk to reward we get. Okay, so we don't have a 1, 2, 3. So what is another target that we can take? Okay, we can take, because you could just take the ICI target, it will be perfectly fine, but I want to take a smaller target because it's just insane to be looking at that huge target to the downside. So this is more reasonable target, okay, minus 27 on this leg is here. It looks like a more reasonable target. Anyway, basically, you want to see the market go even lower, but you're just taking, you know, your first profits at this level. It's not bad. So let's see what if this will be actually a loss or if it will be a good trade. So at the moment, moving in our favor, but keep in mind that we could easily get new tests of this zone. Okay, so actually it looks pretty good now. We are risk-free on the trade. The market is testing the previous low. We are far away from our entry. We don't want to risk have still open risk on this trade, so we can just go risk-free. Okay, now the market broke to the downside, so the weekly ICI is actually completing. Let's see if our overall target will be hit. It seems yes. Okay, so this was definitely a good trade. The market went exactly inside this structure and then continued to the downside, completing what we had from our weekly ICI perspective. Now, obviously, yes, we can expect more continuation to the downside, but at least we had our first target hit. Why? Because you can always have retracements and then new impulses, something can happen, we can do something like this. It's just best to take some profits in the way. So this is what we have, because anyway, if we will have a retracement, then we can look for another ICI to the downside. Let's see if we actually get that. Okay, so the market definitely started a retracement. Okay, let's see if on the 4 hours we had any kind of entry. I went a little bit too fast. So at the moment, the environment is absolutely bullish. Okay, just turned bullish. We have to wait for the market to change back to a bearish environment before we can be looking for a short, which is something that is definitely not happening. The environment of the market is just getting bullish and bullish and bullish. Let me see if something changed. Okay, so the daily ICI is definitely not an ICI anymore. The market tested the previous high. So we can just keep looking at this and see what is going on, because you always have to basically reevaluate what is going on in the market before you basically take any kind of decision. Okay, you always have to look at what is going on. So at the moment, let's look also what we have from a weekly perspective. So from the weekly, okay, we have a push to the up, not much. I mean, at the moment, not really a good market to be looking at. There's nothing really interesting also from a weekly perspective. Daily, not really showing anything interesting. I mean, we do have some support here, sorry, some resistance here. We do have some support exactly where the market is, but it's basically stuck inside of this region. You don't know, you don't have an edge, okay? You don't know if it wants to go up, it wants to go down. If it will make a nice impulse and retracement, then absolutely we have an ICI to the downside and we do have an edge, but at the moment we don't really have it. So let's see what is going on. Okay, so now the market made a nice impulse. We will see if the market does an interesting correction. We can definitely be looking at something good. Okay, so definitely this is something that, yeah, I expected this. So basically this is what we have. Okay, if you remember, we had the structure here. Now I remember that we had the structure. So when the market closed back above, if the market went back above, what did we have? We had an ICI to the downside, and we have the possibility to create this head and shoulders. So at this point, we can definitely be looking at a short. Okay, so I want to short at this moment gold because we have an ICI on the weekly. So I just have to wait for the environment to change, because at the moment the environment is absolutely bullish and I need to wait it to shift. So let's go. Let's see if it will shift. MACD is still above the 0. As you can see, the EMA is cut here, but the MACD is still above the 0. And it's not shifting, which is not a good thing. I mean, probably market will continue to the upside, because if it wanted to shift, it had all the time here to shift. I think this was just a trap and it will not go down. Or maybe it will go down, because now it has another possibility. If it makes this break, then we can definitely short, because the environment is near to shifting. Still bullish, still bullish. Okay, so it didn't want to go down. As you see, if it wanted to go down, it would have already shifted. At this point, we also broke the left shoulder on the weekly. We don't have the ICI anymore. So at this point, what could be a good thing? If the market, for example, did a break retracement, we have a nice ICI and we can short. That is, for example, one of the things that we can be looking at. We have to wait. So let's see what we have at the moment. Please, TradingView, don't get stuck again. So what we have, let's see. Okay, now we're starting to have a clear ICI. Why? Because the market is exactly actually what we wanted to do. We have our impulse, and now the market is starting the retracement, and you expect the next impulse to the downside. So what we will have to do, we will have to take our Fibonacci from the high to the low and wait for the market to go to the 382. Okay, so now the market went to the 382. What do we want to see now? We want to see the market go down, so that we go on the 4 hours and we look for one of our valid entries. So let's wait on the 4 hours and see what we have. Okay, so the market went straight down without giving us one of our valid entries. From the weekly, we can expect continuation to the downside. Absolutely yes. From the daily, what do we have? Okay, from the daily at the moment, we don't have much. The market is at the previous low, but it didn't. I mean, if it now makes another retracement, now this is a pattern. Okay, this is a pattern. You have down, up, you have down, then you have a little bit up, and then you have again down. Okay, it's more like an impulse, consolidation, and impulse. You have like down, up, makes down, goes up, and then again down. It's kind of like a natural W formation. So let's see if the market will make a retracement. We can be looking for another short. Okay, so the market kind of started a retracement, so kind of creating this kind of channel. So this is something that we can be looking at for another push to the downside. Now the market retraced only to the 382, not the 50%. So our target to the downside, if we will go on the 4 hours and find an entry, is this one. So let's go on the 4 hours and see what we get. So on the 4 hours, everything is still bearish, but almost changing. Okay, changed to bullish. So now no, not yet, but very close to shifting. We will have to wait basically if we want to take a short here. Okay, so this is quite good at the moment, because the market, look at what happened. Okay, we had our nice impulse, then the market started this correction, head and shoulders, okay, and break already of the head and shoulders. What do you expect now? Where do you think that you can enter? Exactly from this previous support, turn resistance with your overall downside target here. Okay, that is exactly what you wanted from the first place. So the market actually, this is kind of a textbook entry scenario. Okay, we can just take our short from here. Where will be your stop loss? Stop loss above the high. Where will be your take profit? Take profit, you already know that is here. Let's see if you have your 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we have our 1, 2, 3 with the stop loss above the high. We can definitely be taking this trade, this textbook entry. Okay, so now we are triggered in the trade. Let's see how it goes. Okay, actually it was a longer run, but anyway, we had our take profit here from the ICI. And okay, I think we can basically stop here, and we will be continuing next time with the other half of 2017.